In a world where anxiety disorders affect over 300 million people globally, where depression has become the leading cause of disability worldwide, where we spend billions on therapy, medications, and wellness programs, there's an ancient voice that speaks with startling relevance to our modern mental health crisis. 2,000 years before psychologists coined terms like mindfulness, emotional regulation, and authentic living, a carpenter from Nazareth was teaching principles that neuroscience is only now beginning to validate. This isn't about religion. This is about wisdom that transcends time. Welcome back to Ancient Evidence Vault. Today, we're exploring how Jesus Christ's teachings align with cutting-edge mental health research and why his ancient words might be exactly what our anxious generation needs to hear. Let's start with the facts. We're living through an unprecedented mental health crisis. According to the American Psychological Association, anxiety levels have skyrocketed, especially since 2020. Gen Z reports the highest stress levels of any generation in recorded history. The World Health Organization calls mental health disorders the global health crisis of our time. We're connected than ever, yet lonelier, more informed, yet more confused, more prosperous in the West, yet more spiritually bankrupt. Now here's what's fascinating. 2 millennia ago, Jesus addressed this exact phenomenon. In Matthew 6:25-34, he tackles anxiety head-on. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes?
But he doesn't stop at just saying, don't worry. He provides a psychological framework that modern therapists are rediscovering. He continues, look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? This isn't naive optimism. This is what psychologists now call perspective taking and cognitive reframing, evidence-based techniques for managing anxiety. The mindfulness revolution has swept the Western world. Apps like Calm and Headspace are billion-dollar businesses. But what exactly is mindfulness? Simply put, being present in the current moment without judgment. Listen to Jesus again. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. This is radical presence. This is ancient mindfulness. The Greek word Jesus used, merimnao, means to be drawn in different directions, to be distracted, to have a divided mind. He's describing what we now call monkey mind, that restless, anxious mental state that meditation aims to calm. But here's where Jesus goes deeper than modern mindfulness. He doesn't just say, be present. He provides an anchor. Trust in a loving Father. Modern psychology is catching up. Studies show that spiritual practice combined with mindfulness produces better outcomes than mindfulness alone. Why? Because it addresses not just the how of being present, but the why. It gives meaning to suffering. Our culture is obsessed with authenticity. Be yourself, live your truth. But we're also more performative than ever. Instagram filters, LinkedIn personas. Jesus spoke directly to this, warning against performing righteousness to be seen by others. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in synagogues and on street corners to be seen by others. The word hypocrite comes from Greek theater. It means actor, someone playing a role. Jesus is describing what psychologists now call the false self, the masks we wear to gain approval or project success. Living from the false self is exhausting. It's a major source of depression and anxiety. Jesus said, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? He's asking, what's the point of winning approval if you lose touch with your authentic self in the process? Modern therapy aims to help people shed the false self and embrace authenticity. Jesus was teaching this same liberation 2,000 years ago. Here's where Jesus gets really psychologically sophisticated. Forgiveness. When Peter asked Jesus how many times he should forgive someone, Jesus responded 70 times 7, essentially infinitely.
This seems impractical, but Jesus isn't talking about tolerating abuse, he's talking about internal freedom. Modern psychology has discovered that unforgiveness is toxic to the forgiver. Holding grudges correlates with higher stress, increased cortisol, and elevated blood pressure. Studies show that learning to forgive improves mental health and reduces anxiety. Dr. Fred Luskin essentially validates what Jesus taught. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. When Jesus spoke about forgiveness, he was describing psychological reality. An unforgiving heart is a prison. Bitterness is bondage. Jesus offered the key to that prison, forgiveness, not his weakness, but his strength. Not his forgetting, but his freedom. Healthcare workers, therapists, and caregivers all know about compassion fatigue. We're told to set boundaries and practice self-care. Jesus took a different approach. He withdrew regularly for solitude and prayer, but he also taught something radical. Love your neighbor as yourself. Not instead of yourself, as yourself. This is integrated self-compassion. You can't sustainably love others if you hate yourself. But here's the twist. Meaningful service to others actually replenishes us. Studies show that altruism activates reward centers in the brain. Jesus modeled this perfectly. He spent intense periods in service, then withdrew to recharge. He held boundaries. The key is what he taught about love. It's not just feeling, it's action. And crucially, it includes self-compassion. This is wisdom for our burnout culture. Perhaps Jesus' most controversial teaching is about suffering. He didn't promise to remove it. Instead, he said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." This flies in the face of modern positive thinking. We're told we can eliminate all suffering through the right mindset. But Jesus never promised comfort, he promised meaning. Viktor Frankl, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, observed that those who found meaning in their suffering had better psychological outcomes. Jesus embodies this. You don't have to believe the theology to recognize the psychological principle. Suffering without meaning is unbearable. Suffering with meaning becomes transformative. Post-traumatic growth and finding purpose in pain are validated psychological realities that Jesus taught first.
So, where does this leave us? Whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or somewhere in between, the evidence is clear. The teachings attributed to Jesus Christ contain profound psychological wisdom that modern science is only now validating. Mindfulness, authenticity, forgiveness, sustainable compassion, meaning in suffering. These aren't just religious ideas, they're evidence-based pathways to better mental health. Maybe that's why his words have endured for 2 millennia. As Jesus himself said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." In our modern mental health crisis, perhaps freedom is exactly what we need. If this resonated with you, subscribe to Ancient Evidence Vault for more explorations of ancient wisdom meeting modern science. Leave a comment sharing which of Jesus' teachings has impacted your mental health or perspective. And remember, you don't have to carry tomorrow's burdens today.